Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to our exclusive webinar, Rise of RPO. How will it affect your business? So in today's session, we will talk about the history of recruitment process outsourcing, which is RPO, and its future now with the emerging AI technologies and how these advancements can benefit businesses. Plus, we'll also discuss the importance of employer branding and candidate experience in enhancing people's career. Joining us today are our four industry experts who will help us navigate this evolving sector. Let me introduce our outstanding panelists. Sandeep Sapru, President APAC XLR Technologies, brings over 20 years of HR experience transforming recruitment and onboarding with strategic vision and advanced technology to optimize talent management and enhance business efficiency. Sanjay Kulkarni, President Fleet Guard, Filters Private Limited, is a visionary leader recognized for his strategic planning skills, building high-performance teams, and nurturing future leaders to drive growth. Faisal Vahedi, Head of People APAC, India and Eurasia at Infobip, brings over 20 years of HR experience, enhancing organizational capabilities and leading talent management initiative across various verticals. Ashish Niranjan, Leadership Hiring, CK Birla Group, is a thought leader in recruitment focused on innovative strategies and cohesive frameworks to drive global expansion. Welcome, everyone. So this question is an introductory one for all four of you. So could you explain what role RPO plays in your respective organizations? Could you give us some insights even before we head start with this webinar? So Faisal, let's start with you.
So over the last 2 decades, we have been using RPO on and off, depending on the organization that I worked with. During my last stint with Viacom 18, we were using it extensively. And if you look at Viacom, it's a media company. And, as an institution, they always want to focus on the core business, which is creating stories. And for that reason, we had, the HR team would focus on more high, on initiatives which are more about engagement and strategic, wherein we would work with flexibility, which is a part of ABC group, to help us on recruitment. And that gave us the ability to scale up quickly because at times you may want to launch a TV channel as soon as possible. And for that reason, you may want someone who knows the market, who knows the business, and can support you in any region, because that was the time when we were expanding a lot in region. Second, and obviously scale and ability to deliver fast. And as I said, that gave us the ability to focus on the core business. So for me, RPO has been something which has always helped me, my team, and the organization that I worked become faster, effective, and more focused on delivering, saving time, saving resources that ways. Yeah.
Sure.
Thanks.
Yeah. So Sanjay, we would like to hear from you.
Yeah, I mean, I have not much to add to what Faisal just said. So a couple of points here. As we started scaling up, there is a time when we really came across the need in that was, I mean, much more than than it was before. So that was something. Scaling up was one issue. Another issue was that as we sort of became a little bigger, some of the positions that were unique to the organization, which were not very, I mean, we tried, but then with the internal resources, it wasn't coming very easily for them, because there were some roles which generally don't exist in automotive industry or the industry that we work in. So those are a couple of points which sort of pushed us to get into to RPO. But then we are fairly new to this process. I mean, new in the sense we have started using it about 5 years or so before. But then the experience, overall experience is quite good because the interactions are really qualitative. We have started getting good resources, and then we have really now realized the importance. And RPO, I think, is the way to go for us. Thank you.
Sure. Sandeep?
Yeah, I mean, we always have a high need because of the BPO wing that we operate on, and also some of the business that comes in from IT side. We've kind of relied on some of the RPO services in past, not just here in India, but also in the US and probably in Europe also. And it is always, when you have when you have a quick need and you need people to basically get onto the work. I think it's internal recruitment sometimes does not work and it's too time consuming. Here you can put your terms and conditions, put your requirements, keep everybody updated of what is required, and you get a full-fledged support to the existing business and it also helps with the existing recruiting world to basically help them with what is required. So yes, it's always been very helpful, and I think organizations should be using this service as long as a big organization definitely should use it. A small organization needs to use it. A mid-size is something who can think about it, but a small organization who cannot afford the HR staff, who cannot afford the entire process of hiring recruiters or have recruiters all the time, and who have needs very few times. I think those are the typical organizations who really use this service. We've also kind of helped a lot of smaller companies in the past to use our RPO services, which has been very beneficial.
Sure, Sandeep. Ashish, we would like to hear from you as well.
Thank you. So I sort of concur with most of the folks here. But at the same time, I mean, I've seen RPO from both sides. I've used RPO in my last assignment. I was the RPO provider for Asia Pacific for Google. That was the biggest RPO in the RPO industry, frankly. So I've seen both sides of the RPO. Well, it is best suited for companies who would want to quickly scale up, have numbers to hire, where the job description is common across, right? And they would want to quickly fill those seats. Whereas a RPO may be of little value when you have to, a true recruiter will understand this language. When you really have to do spear hunting, then the RPO has limited use cases in that respect. So we need to understand what kind of environment or what kind of roles the RPO can be effective, and smart enough to understand what roles which RPO cannot do, and that's where you would want to put in or bring in other consulting firms or make your team get those headhunting tasks done for you. Yeah,
Sure,
that's
great.
the mission.
So, okay. Thank you all for the insights and helping us get a little glance of your work life. Okay, so let's dive into our first part of the discussion, which is understanding the RPO in the larger perspective. So Sandeep, to get started, could you walk us through what RPO is, a little bit of its history and how it has evolved?
Yeah, I was reading about it some time back, and I think my understanding was totally incorrect that it started in America, but it did start in, I think, somewhere in the US, I think, but I was surprised to read that during the World War II, when they were falling short of soldiers, they actually used a service like this, which eventually became an RPO service. So, which is quite interesting to know. I think it's a trivia fact that everybody should know who belongs to the recruiting world, and that's the basis of an RPO, where you need people. I mean, a bunch of recruiters, a bunch of people sit in your office and recruit. Could be in the office, could be working from home, but they work on a certain requirements and get you those people in limited amount of time. Could be transactional, could be could be paid in one bulk. So that's the kind of service you can be availing with with the RPO world. And I think it's that's how it started years ago, and I think it's kind of become a huge industry now. And I think the numbers on the board say itself, like, it's going to be about a $25 billion industry very soon. I think typically in US and Europe, I think a lot of people which go on visa and work on full time, those services typically use RPO in the best possible way, and I think the advantage goes on for a very long time for the people who are startups, or for people where the need is, just for 3 to 6 months also. I think those services are getting utilized. So that's the typical understanding of an RPO with some examples, and that's how the RPO world started, Mabel.
Sure. Thank you, Sandeep. Thank you for those insights. And, it is very important for us to understand the history to, like how it was formed, so that we are well aware of everything. And thank you so much for explaining it so well. And I'm sure that everybody has gained knowledge from it as well. So building on that, let's hear from our next industry expert, Faisal. So Faisal, with AI transforming RPO, what major changes are you seeing around the world?
So I didn't see a lot of movement in RPO. Most of, it's like you outsource it to agency and they hire for you. But a lot of things started changing, and you see more and more happening now over the last few years, especially in the last 2 years. And I did some research on that, spoke to some of my friends, and realized that some of the largest and the most forward-thinking organizations have been using it a lot. I mean, everyone here has experience in using LinkedIn as a candidate and also as a recruiter. And LinkedIn, they use AI-based algorithm to match right profiles with the right candidates. And then, if you might have noticed, 6 months ago they launched this AI powered insights for candidates, which actually can gives you the ability to connect with the hiring managers or recruiting companies more effectively. So that's one of the biggest example and I've made some other notes on these companies. Second is IKEA. IKEA uses HireView. It's an AI firm which helps them with automate every administrative process. So sourcing profiles, setting up interviews, to sending a follow-up email or a reminder to the candidate. All of that is done through HireView. So it helps the recruiters save a lot of time. So they are not spending time on administrative work or low value work, and they're focusing more important, having those conversations and understanding the candidates better. Third example is L'Oreal. They have a chatbot called Mia, and that helps improve the candidate experience to recruiting. So when you apply to L'Oreal, and if you activate Mia, it it takes you through the whole process. If you have problem in filling the application form, or if you want to know where your application is at which stage, or what's the feedback, all of that can be done through Mia. And as a candidate, sometimes we might have felt that experience of being frustrated of not getting a response from the company or the recruiter. And honestly, it's not possible for the recruiter to reach out to all those 1,000 people, those who applied. But Mia makes it possible, which at then is not only improving the candidate's experience, but in a way also contributing to the to the brand of the organization. You have a good experience, you may want to apply again, maybe not next time, sometime later. Then we have a Vodafone, which uses a company called Eightfold .ai, and what they use is they look at the applications and use the analytics to so when you are applying, when the recruiter is posting the same job again, some of the insights from the previous hiring is what is used to make sure that this time the recruiter is not going through like 100 CV evaluation, because the AI itself is doing some of the initial screening basis the past experience. Now, I'm sure most of us are aware of IBM Watson. It has been in existence for long, but now they have a Watson AI, and which has the ability to actually predict during recruitment phase as to how long how successful this person would be in the given job that you're hiring for, and the retention of the person basis their previous records in similar jobs. So, which is pretty neat. I mean, imagine when you are hiring, it tells you whether this person is gonna stay with you or not. We recently came up with a policy which is called job hoppers rule, where we are ensuring that someone who has had two or more job changes with two or less years of experience, we are not hiring them, because by the time they actually start producing results, they are already out, because these folks, by their thought process, or they are not stable. And for us, it's everything that you invest in, like your time and effort in the employee, goes for toss, because the person is moving out. But if you have a Watson, it is gonna help your life, make your life easy. Then there is Intel, which uses hard score, which only gives you information about the candidate's qualification, experience, skill, everything which is related to the job, and not about the candidate. And that eliminates any biases that you might have about the candidates during hiring phase. So it tells you that this is what you need and this is what you have. It doesn't tell you the name, the sex, the race, the date of birth, even like anything which makes you biased about the person. Like at times, if we find a not so good profile from a very good organization, we are inclined to hire that person. But there are so many good profiles from not so good organization which we should be hiring. But at times we are conditioned to think in a certain way, which hide scope eliminates. And Intel has been doing this for a long time to ensure that it helps them improve their diversity and inclusion, and it builds a strong culture in the organization. Deloitte is another organization which is using Kira talent, and they have some tool which helps them improve their cognitive. It's an analysis to check their cognitive and psychometric analysis, which is customized as per the requirement of Delight, basis the role and the function that they are gonna hire. So yes, RPOs, not only RPOs, but in the overall hiring or recruitment world, AI is contributing a lot. But the problem with an individual institution is you cannot go ahead and have all of these technologies at once, right? And that's where a firm like Excella or other RPO service providers come in picture, because they offer you a one-stop solution which integrates all of these technologies at different stages of recruitment, and which helps you as a client achieve much faster and more effective results. And this was only possible now because of AI. Thank you, ma'am.
Sure, sure. Thank you so much, Faisal, for the understanding on the transformation part and throwing some light on the changes that are being, currently experienced in the market. My next question is for you, Sanjay. So Sanjay, what challenges do companies usually, face when transitioning to RPO, and how can they effectively, address these hurdles?
Yeah, so basically, you are asking about the basic RPO process, right? Before you go to RPO, what are the challenges that generally are faced by the organization? Is that the question?
Right. So the
Okay.
transitioning of RPO, right?
Transition, okay. So see, when we started engaging RPOs and then this process generally, so some of the issues that we obviously came across were people started feeling that they are losing control. I mean, this is something which was basically came out very, very strong, that they felt that probably they know organization much better than the RPOs, and they can do a better job. That is what they started feeling. Obviously, we had to sort it out. Another issue was about communication. I mean, they thought that probably communication may not be as strong as it used to be before. Thirdly, they thought that it's really going to be costly, as Faisal mentioned. They thought that is. I mean, obviously, we are not a company which is in the cost world. We always look at the the benefits of any OPEX that we make. So that issue was not really a concerning issue, but then people really thought about it, how cost is going to be more than what we used to sort of incur before. Another issue was security, data security, and then whether they will be able to comply the way we want them to comply, and how the change management is going to take place. Another thing was that obviously RPOs did not know much about the organization. That is a general feeling of people when the HR resources, when they try to approach any RPO. I mean, then these were challenges generally, but then we came across some other issues like personal choices and preferences, etc., etc. But then we really sort of when we also started about the solutions as to how to tackle these issues. So there were about generally we bifurcated these issues or these challenges into 3 different phases. For example, what is going to happen before the transition, during the transition, or generally after transition when onboarding is happening. So there were a lot of interactions with RPO, interactions within the organization with people, and then some of the things that we did was say for example before transition, what is to be done. So there was we tried to bring a lot of clarity with RPOs and the internal HR resources. So there was a lot of conversation that used to happen. That is number 1. Number 2, we were very clear that we will go to somebody who is best in the business. So there was no issue about whether to what extent these people are going to contribute and stuff like that. So we made sure that the choice of RPO is absolutely somebody who is best, and then that agreement we had within the internal team. Thirdly, we had a very robust, we set up a very robust system, or the SOPs, which was very, very clear that we have to, if we want to go to a RPO during the transition, that is something which we are definitely going to adhere to, and there is nobody who is going to flout that SOP. So these, in terms of clarity, in terms of system adherence, we were very, very clear. Now during transition, generally there was, we had to work on, for example, process, how to map a process, or the performance metrics was about clarity about the metrics, about the training, how the whole process is going to be supported, how the communication is to be made. So that was something which we had to, obviously we couldn't plan everything in beforehand, but as we went about it, as we learned a lot through this process, we sort of went on setting up more better SOPs to then over a period of time.
Sure, Sanjay.
And that is how after transition also, so regular monitoring, improvement processes, and then the engagements of the stakeholders. Obviously, another issue that came about was how to calculate and how to look at ROI for any recruitment or stuff like that. But then there was, that is how we sort of deliberated throughout these issues, and finally now the process is close to maturity. So we are sort of okay as of now.
Sure. Thank you, Sanjay, for highlighting the challenges and also how to manage those hurdles effectively, and how you have done that in your organization.
Yeah.
So there's definitely so much to learn. And so Ashish, now let's hear more from you. So how do you ensure the quality of hires, when outsourcing recruitment functions?
Well, it's a tricky one. This quality is subjective also as well. And then considering quality, everyone has their own views. But then for the generic roles, quality is generally ascertained. So as a typical
HR, non-HR guy, we in quality we would start from, or rather in HR we start from job description. Yeah, so if you're able to write a job description which is easy to understand, yeah, not using Queen's English rather than the English which we all can easily interpret. Uh, Understanding while writing the JD, don't clutter it with a lot of sentences. Call out skills. Call out the competencies which can help you to achieve the outcome from that job. Clear cut call out experience range, right? If you talk about 5 years or 10 years, instead, let's say 5 to 8 years. Instead of 10 years, let's talk about 8 to 12 years. Yeah. So and then last but not the least, you must call out a qualification. So these using these 5-6 pointers, let's fix the JD first. Yeah. Then, of course, the RPO partner would also need to understand the most important yet unspoken is culture of the company. So, for instance, while we were hiring for Google, or when I was using RPO at Allstate, we used to make everyone sit across the table and understand what is the culture of Allstate or what is the culture of Google. So at Google, there is a round of interview which is called as Googliness, yeah, which is nothing but to understand how culturally one can be aligned to Google, and how am I able to drive the value as a candidate. So candidates' values and the value of the company are the intersecting somewhere, yeah. And then, of course, you talk about your entire. Once you fix all this, basis these, you design your assessment. I'm sorry, your screening and then your assessment process, right? So you have various assessment stages where you clearly demarcate someone who's assessing the candidate. So first is screening the resumes, assessing the candidates on from the cultural standpoint, from technical standpoint, etc. And then you club the feedback at one place, right? And that's where you sit across the table and understand if the candidate has gone through 4 rounds of interviews. One could be assessing maybe 2 skills, the other may be assessing a few competencies, and then the third round maybe on culture and values. Fourth could be on technical aspect. Then sort of sit down across the table. If there is nothing completely red, of course, in the candidate, you sit across the table, understand the feedback, and then you compile the feedback to be able to come out with a result, whether the candidate is a go or a no go. Yeah. Generally, we do mistake that one interview, someone did not like the candidate, let's reject. It could be a bad day for the interviewer or a bad day for the candidate as well, while the candidate could be a wonderful candidate. Yeah. So hence you sort of design a process where not one person takes a call, but the entire process is designed scientifically in a way where you understand the feedback. And if there are anything which are underlying areas which are to be reassessed, then you sort of go back and put another panel to reassess them. Yeah. Then of course you need to see how do you process manage this. I think Sanjay touched upon it beautifully, that how do you define the SLAs, but at the same time you would also need to see every process is going to fail someday or is going to have a gap. So how your root cause, how many root cause can you run in a process, and then how are you going to reduce those RCAs in the duration of time? Yeah. And how those RCAs are put in actions, not just being analyzed.
Right.
Yeah. So all of this put together, I think somewhere you will be able to get good response. Yeah. Effective. I mean, I'm not sure 100%, but it'll be most effective.
Sure. Thank you so much, Ashish, and helping us understand the complete process of recruitment. I completely relate to it because I am also from the HR background. So, from the screening process to the hiring process, I can completely relate to it. So, how the quality of hire is so important for all of us. So, now that we've got a little understanding of an RPO, we'll also touch base on the benefits of it, right? So, Faisal, based on your experience, what are the primary benefits organizations can expect when they implement RPO solutions?
So, Mabel, you have already mentioned some of the usual suspects on the slide, which is cost saving and access to talent. One of the things that Sanjay mentioned, that at times you may not have in-house capability to hire a particular role which your team has never hired for. And that happens quite often now these days when everyone is pivoting. Everyone is looking at, getting into, because of the changes in economy or the global financials, people are looking at diversifying. Almost all businesses are trying to do that. And for that reason, expecting the existing recruitment team to work on it may not be possible. And that's where RPO comes handy. So, you can always use them for that kind of like a special project hiring. Second is scaling businesses, because I guess the company you work, I work, or everyone else here, everything that is supposed to happen today was actually supposed to happen yesterday. Like, and for that reason, you may want an expert to actually deliver things before on time and before time. Another thing which is now becoming more and more critical is access of technology, which we were discussing in the previous section, where you may not have access to all the different technologies which RPO services providers might have, because for them it's is the core business, so they have all the tools and techniques in place to make it happen. Another thing which may be more useful, and not only, I mean, not just for IT companies, but for others also, is more and more companies are now using the agile methodologies, the principles of agile, right? And having RPO at your at as a service provider is actually going uh, to make you more agile, because they know which steps to take and not follow 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If step 8 can be taken before step 2, they will actually do that. So it will, in true meaning, make you more agile as an organization. So these are some of the immediate and long-term benefits that I think are of RPO.
Sure, I completely agree on that, Faisal. So, I would also like to understand from Sanjay, with the rise of AI technology, how can it enhance, the candidate experience during the recruitment process?
Yeah, see, basically, there are, I mean, obviously, there are some benefits of this AI integration. Basically, engagement with the candidate, and basically time to hire, quality, obviously, of the hirers, uh, the interview processes, the scheduling, some of the things that we can probably predict beforehand, bring a lot of transparency, clarity into the system. I mean, I mean, this virtual interviews and generally making sure that the whole process of hiring is not only actually properly optimizedly timed, but then the quality of the whole process gets improved. Another thing is that generally the issue that we have faced is obviously a lot of window dressing these candidates too. I mean, whatever actually they write in the CV, and what they actually come out with in terms of their presentation, in terms of interview that they give, in terms of general conversation or interaction, it could be different. I mean, that is where AI or this technology can really bring a lot of benefits. So in the whole process, I mean, you can, and that is how the quality of the hires, as Ashish rightly mentioned, is very subjective. But then AI can bring lot of clarity into it, and then the whole process can be really optimized. So even though you feel that it's little costly at the beginning of the whole process, really turns out to be very beneficial in terms of the quality or the actual output is concerned. So these are the benefits according to me. I mean, and then obviously we have not much used AI, by the way, not much technology. So we are still at the robust basic. I won't say basic level, but we are not much matured in terms of this AI technology is concerned as of now. But we are sort of engaged with somebody like PwC to be able to set the whole HR processes into place, which will be rather not dominated by AI, but then sort of well guided through AI. For example, role matching or the real optimization of people's abilities and capabilities in terms of the position or roles that the organization may be needed. So these are some of the areas that we have started working, but it's generally a nascent stage for FFPL right now. But we are definitely going to go. We are definitely going to take it seriously going forward. I mean, this is. I don't have anything much to say right now, but probably a year or so down the line, we will have much more clarity about this way forward. Thank you.
Absolutely, Sanjay. Thank you so much for that. And I completely agree when you say that the candidate experience is so important in the recruitment process. So moving on to that, Sandeep, how can organizations effectively leverage, XLR's RPO solutions to implement a hybrid hiring process? So, that seamlessly combines both in-person and virtual recruitment strategies.
So thanks. First of all, I mean, thanks to Faisal, Sanjay, and Ashish. I think the way they've been talking not just about RPO but also about recruiting well. It's very important. I think people attending both from hiring manager point of view or from recruitment point of view, this is very knowledgeable. I think that's why they scored more than me in Jamshedpur. So we still have to figure that out later. But I think. What the way this whole RPO thing is panning out, it's just not about what Exela does as an organization, but I think as a whole, it's not that we do something very special or we are different, but what we offer is a bit of an AI, a lot more about what we do as a strong processes, lot more about communication, lot more about getting synced to the organization and very quickly making it seem like we work for them rather than we being their customers. We preferably work out of their offices, so that gives them that benefit and gives them that kind of comfort. And at the same time, we document every single process using one of the AI technologies, which could be Gemini, or which could be the notes are captured immediately after the meeting and are circulated and are kept in a way that there is a complete historic information available. At the same time, we also have our ATS software, which is called as Talento, which helps us, which has resume parsing, which kind of has a small process which includes AI to qualify candidates. So we do all of that, which helps us not just in terms of the processes, but also the tools which we avail. It allows people to also apply from outside anywhere in the world, and they can apply for a particular job. The feedback goes out through an AI bot, even through a person, and the whole process. There's a requisition which gets approved in the system. There is a small screening. There's a screening way of doing it in the Talento. And then what we do is basically start the communication. The interview process goes on. Each process is documented in our ATS, which I mentioned as Talento. And then at the end of the day, the offer letter also goes through Talento using one of our proprietary signature platform called DrySign. So that's what we've been doing, and that's how we kind of call ourselves a little different. And it's all about you don't need to be anywhere present to do this process. We can do it virtually, we can do it in person, we can do it in multiple ways, It helps immensely to people who are busy focusing on the core strength of their organization, whether it is an HR who could possibly do what they are doing, and we kind of do it very quickly with some of the recruiters and some of the qualified team what we have. So as a whole, I think we're doing a decent process wherever we are currently engaged with this RPO solutions, and I think we'll go a long way as it comes along.
Sure, Sandeep. Thank you so much. I really appreciate those insights from you and sharing the best practices we have, and in terms of the hybrid hiring strategies as well. Moving ahead, Faisal, so can you share a few common pitfalls, companies should avoid when trying to improve the candidate experience?
Okay. One thing is avoiding shortcuts. Like and so you don't want to spend time, but at the same time you want your candidates to have good experience, wherein you can actually automate most of these things and have better experience. And that will be the base. Second is looking at long-term gains and not having lack of foresightness that Sanjay mentioned a little while ago. You look at immediate cost and you're not able to foresee as to how this will impact you, save more money and become more faster over a period of time. Then in terms of making it more personalized for the ones those who are applying it, like your potential candidates. A basic example is when you receive a response from an AI or a chatbot, it says dear candidate. But what if you customize it with the name and maybe the gender, and talk about and relate it with the actual query that a person has asked? So that's on the personalization part. And when you are doing all of this, and I'll connect it to the first thing that I said, at the end it is actually going to improve your brand, or build your credibility in the market. In long term, it will help you get more better candidates, because some of the folks, those who got rejected now, might be interested in applying you to you later. This will also encourage those who are joining you to actually refer to the folks, because they have recently joined you, they have had a good experience, and basis that they had a good start, because they're having good onboarding and hiring. So then they will reach out to more folks, those who might have the required skills that you're actually hiring for. So in a way, it helps you long time. But someplace, as I say, head of recruitment or head of HR, you may have to look at all of these stages as a candidate, experience, visualize yourself experiencing it, and then actually putting that step-by-step system in place to ensure that all of these are taken care of.
Sure, Faisal. So thank you for the awareness, for highlighting the measures on improvising the candidate experience. Building on that, so Ashish, how can global MNCs use technology to enhance, the employer branding and candidate experience in recruitment? So what key metrics should they track for successful RPO partnerships?
Thanks. See, but before that, to what Faisal has just said, Faisal, I was meeting up with someone over this weekend, and this person happens to be a brewer, and this person said, "You aren't a good brewer if you aren't able to drink your own beer." Yeah. So that is something which sort of left in my head. Because I mean, in our Indian system, we have studied the other way around, right? Halwai apni dukaan ka pakwan nahi khata hai. Yeah, and this was tangentially different statement which this guy made, and I think you were also alluding to the same, where you need to understand the process, experience it yourself. Yeah. Coming to your question, Technology, well, I think very few people here know that I was a marketing student, and I still follow brands religiously, and I still relate to brands. I love their I love their taglines and understand what's behind that tagline. Um, a, a good marketing, a good branding is when you're able to uh, leave an impression on the candidate or on any person who's been touched by your brand. Yeah. And as recruiters or as folks in HR or even RPO for that matter, we are the one who touch candidates who are potentially going to work for you, and someone who's, see, I come from consulting companies, so the someone who's not being hired or not working with my organization is going to be my potential client. Yeah. So while we were careful in dealing with candidates and pride giving them a great experience through the journey of being a candidate, um, the technology now can help you to smoothen the rough edges. Yeah, and being able to also bring everything on a platform, right? I come from a generation where uh, we have grown or migrated from a typical notebooks to post-its, Excel sheets, and now AI. Yeah, so it's the technology makes it simpler for you to track the candidates. At the same time, if we are able to add a flavor of the brand with each communication, not what recently one of the big tech giant did, that's going overboard with AI, right? I'm not sure if you guys would know, but there's a recent news about a tech giant which said you are overqualified for the job, hence we will not be able to hire you. Yeah. And this was the response, the automated response from their hiring tool, yeah, which went to a candidate, and then this got posted on Twitter X, and the company got heavily trolled everywhere. Yeah. So somewhere we need to understand, see, AI is a double-edged sword, and AI is still evolving. Yeah. So if you're able to put your perspective while you're designing a brand communication, I mean, it's a very, very strong way of communicating your brand, right? While you are just sending the JD to a candidate, right? Send your entire brand docket to a candidate. Yeah. Let the candidate feel your brand, right? Read about your brand. Send them reels about your brand. Yeah. Try to give them the good stories about your brand. Yeah, you have that benefit now because everything is available at the click of your mouse these days, and then you can also merge it in your tool. Yeah. So you don't leave candidate thinking that what is this brand or what's this brand could be. Yeah. So somewhere I think if we are able to install a brand impression with the candidate at each touch point. Yeah. So identify those touch points right from approaching a candidate till about sending them a JD and then taking them through the process. And most important is when you close the entire loop with them. Yeah. Don't leave anyone hanging. Yeah. So my girlfriend kicked my butts, and that's still in my head that why did she leave me? Yeah. So you need a closure in your life for everything.
Right. Sure.
Yeah.
I absolutely agree to that, Ashish. And thank you for letting us know, the technologies can enhance employer branding and candidate experience, which is very, quite thought-provoking. So thank you to our fantastic panelists for, sharing their insights today. Moving on, coming to our Q&A session. We have received many questions, but we'll focus on most common one due to time constraints. Any remaining questions or furthermore, inquiries will be addressed via email. Please reach out to us at hrsolutions@xlrtech.com. So we have a question here. So how do you recommend businesses maintain flexibility in their RPO strategies to adapt to changing market conditions? I would request any of the leaders to pick this up.
I think I can pick this up. I don't think something like recruiting should not have flexibility as long as you're committed to deliver and you're committed to do it on time. I think what is important in recruiting, nobody cares you work 25 hours a day or 35 hours a day. It is important to have people onboarded. I think that's the result, and it's completely seen right immediately after you finish your assignment, unlike any other. Unlike any other business which runs in an organization. So I think as long as you can be productive and get the results, I think it's best to get those results. And I think recruiting is one of the best ways. You do your job and go home. And if you can do it right and the experience is good at the end of the 90, 120 days, I think we've done a fairly good job. So it goes same for the RPO, Mabel.
Sure. I completely agree, Sandeep. Thank you. So thank you so much for joining our enlightening discussion on the evolution of recruitment process outsourcing, which is RPO, and its integration with AI. So leveraging RPO solutions like those, offered by XLR can significantly enhance your recruitment strategies in today's hybrid environment. So we hope you've gained valuable insights into transforming your recruitment efforts. And for questions or more information, please reach out to us at hrsolutions@xlrtech.com. Remember, the right RPO strategy can be a game changer for your organization. Stay tuned for more impactful webinars. Have a wonderful day and take care. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you guys. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Sandeep, for organizing this.
Thank
Very
you.
nice.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Great to
Thanks,
reconnect,
Sarika.
folks.
Thank you. Thank you,
And
everyone.
thanks to Ranika. She has done a wonderful work, I think.
Yeah.
Very well.
Thank you, everybody.
Okay, all right. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thanks, Mabel.
Thank you, guys.
Bye.
Thanks, guys. Bye.